Thank you for joining us tonight on the Grio. I am your host, Marc Lamont Hill. It's that time of year where the world is in the holiday spirit. Every major city in the country and around the world, it's decked out in Christmas cheer and Kwanzaa greetings, and people are making plans to ring in the new year on a good note. There's the ball drop in New York City. There's the peach drop in Atlanta. Up the cup in Savannah. Disney's Magical Kingdom is going to be lit, like literally lit. The world's largest New Year celebration will be on Rio's Copacabana Beach. So much is happening, but often Black and African traditions centered around this time of year, well, they're left out of the mainstream. Well, here at the Grio, we ain't going to do that because we amplify Black culture. Joining me right now is Ekemini Uwan. She is a public theologian. She's the co-author of Truth's Table, Black Women's Musings on Life, Love, and Liberation. And she's going to help us make sense of a little bit more than what the mainstream wants you to know. So thank you, first of all, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I'm glad to be here.
Now, the most widely known Black holiday tradition in the United States is Kwanzaa. Of course, that's an African-American tradition. Yeah. Talk to me about its origins.
Well, Habari Gani. How are you? How you be? Is the greeting, right? This is Kwanzaa was started in 1966 by Dr. Malana Karenga. And so it is an African-American and Pan-African holiday that celebrates a lot of our communal values and cultural values, and is organized around seven principles. It begins December 26th through January 1st. And those seven principles are called Nguzo Saba. So, Umoja, Kaji Chagolia, that's the one I like. Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kumba, and Imani, right? Imani meaning faith, Kumba, creativity, Nia, purpose. And so all these principles that are meant to bring us together and celebrate our communal responsibility and love for one another. And so it's a holiday that I believe is garnering more respect, I believe, and more of appreciation. As of late is what I've noticed.
We definitely see more of it. We see, Kwanzaa cards. We see people celebrating it. When I look on social media, which for a lot of us is like the real world, you'll see people saying Habari Gani, what's news, and answering with the particular day, and having thoughts and activities and gifts related to it. Yes, Kwanzaa stamp. I love seeing that stuff. That is that's a major shift over just really a lifetime.
Yes.
Now, this time of year from Christmas to New Year's, historically, Black families, we get our house in order. This is where at the end of the year, we do the cleaning.
Yes.
My mama used to have us clean the house and do all that stuff. The family makes meals with collard greens, black eyed peas. My mom on the first day, the New Year day, a man had to walk through the house. It'd be the first one to come in the house. I mean, we had some good old fashioned, good country rituals. That's it. Look, what is all this New Year good luck preparation stuff mean in the context of like our diaspora?
Yeah, as a Pan-Africanist, I'm always really passionate about making those connections, right, between continental Africans and Afro descendants within the diaspora, because those connections are there. And so contrary to popular belief, some of those traditions still carry forth, like cleaning the house. That is absolutely something that our people do. I am a descendant of the Ibibio people, which are who are occupied in the southeastern portion of Nigeria. And so the Ibibio people absolutely, toward the end of the year, Christmas time is what we call it, or New Year's. There in our language is called Akabidi Swa, which is the end of the year, changing of the year, right? And so with that comes, we got to clean the house. We got to get the house ready, all of the mess and the junk that happened during the year. We're just ready to prepare ourselves for something new, a posture of hope, if you will. And so that's definitely a tradition that carries forward. Sometimes there's some meals that we'll eat toward the end of the year as well, which is called like afia fere, so that's this white soup that is really a staple toward this time of the year. And then all types of cultural traditions and festivals and things that occur as well toward the end of the year there in Nigeria. And you see some of that carry forth even now within the diaspora, which I think is beautiful.
No, and as sort of Africans here in the United States, which is sort of how we think about it as Pan-Africanists here in the States.
That's right.
There are so many interesting connections between our cultural traditions as Black folk and things that have happened throughout the diaspora that precede our time here, that were interrupted by slavery, but also preceded by slavery. And so I think about, for example, Black folk, that go to church, they go to watch night service. You going in at 6, 7, 8, depending on if you're Pentecostal, you might go in at noon, but you go in at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and you stay there. You hear the words, you celebrate, you shout, you do praise and worship. The pastor preaches a good word, and you enter the new year oftentimes in prayer.
That's right.
To watch the new year come in. But that ain't just what Black folk in the United States do. There's a tradition of watch night that comes right out of the continent of Africa. Talk to me about that.
Yes. So this is which is, I love to be able to make this connection so people know, like, everything didn't originate with slavery. Especially, particularly even the Christian faith, it's an Eastern religion. I know it's hard to tell here on the West, but it's an Eastern religion. There were actual Christians that were stolen and trafficked on the boat, just as there were Muslims, just as there were African traditional religion adherents, and so I think that's important to establish that too. But yes, we have a tradition of being in the church house on New Year's Eve. That is a must. And so that's something that a tradition that we have carried forward and still celebrate. And not only just being in the church house on New Year's Eve, but being there on New Year's Day too. Right. And then also on the 25th as well. It's very, very important to be. And then also there's fire pits that are lit actually around in front of the church to just really get rid of the bad things, right, that happen during the year, your illnesses, whatever it is that you're trying to really cast in the fire and burn up and you don't want to have return again. We're saying goodbye to that and ushering in hope, and promise for the new year, for a better year. And so you just see some of these traditions that that you didn't always know was connected to your people, but it is connected, to your people, because we are connected in more ways than I think we often realize or even appreciate.
I think that's right. Now, we were just talking about Christmas. We were talking about watch night. And of course, these are linked now, especially to Christian practice. Yes. But there are many African nations that aren't Christian, whose religious and faith practices aren't rooted in Christianity. Absolutely. What are some other traditions that we see emerge this time of year?
Yes. So, I mean, even within, Africa is so diverse, right? So even within the ethnic group, everybody's not a Christian, so even among the Ibibio people, everybody is not a Christian. And so even for some of our kin who celebrate Akwa Ibom State, right? The end of the year celebrations, is changing of the new year. There's Ekpo. And so Ekpo is a masquerade, a cultural masquerade. It's actually a part of a secret society, right? So I don't even know all the details because I ain't in the secret society, right? So it's actually reserved for men. It's pretty patriarchal, actually.
A whole lot of faith traditions are patriarchal. That ain't just Africa.
This is true. And so Ekpo is a masquerade, part of a secret society that's been around for hundreds of years. And so at the end of the year, Ekpo will come out because this is the time when family, who's dispersed all over, the country will usually come back, for this holiday season. And Ekpo will come out. Ekpo means like ghost, if you will. And Ekpo will come out in this masquerade, really dark, kind of like raffia type of material, and dance and kind of chase people. And, so it's just this cultural kind of celebration where people will come together. And this is for people that are non-Christian, or some people that are Christian will still kind of go and just kind of to celebrate, that tradition. And then there's also Akon, which is where teens and maybe preteens will go around in the village with a mask on and just do some like cultural dances and, kind of going door to door and just performing for families, right? And then people will come out and give them gifts. Sometimes they'll give them plantain, or they'll give them, some whatever they happen to have, they'll give it to them for performing. And the younger kids will go and follow Ekon around the village, going house to house. And it's just very communal and very celebratory. So,
and very beautiful. And it's a reminder that this time of year isn't for one faith. It's not for one path. It's not for one tradition. And there's many ways to think about holidays. There's many ways to think about our cultural rituals and practices.